From Westminster's battle over budgets to the bigger question of how Africa is positioned on the global stage. Our next conversation looks at power, perception and policy from a different angle. One of the institutions at the heart of that work is the Royal African Society, which for more than a century has helped shape dialogue between Africa and the UK across business, arts, academia and politics. Leading its next chapter is the organisation's new director and CEO, Stella Okuzu, who I recently caught up with. Stella Okuzu, thank you so much for joining me on Channel's Business Global today, and thank you so much for allowing the viewers to come into your office, which is snug and intimate.
Thank you.
I've got to say, it's quite intimidating,
Really?
bustling through all of the students at the School of Oriental and Africa Studies, SOAS, which is a huge historic institution known globally. Before we get into the meat of the discussion, talk to me about what it's like being surrounded by so many students. It's not just SOAS that's based where we are.
Yes.
There's also UCL and Birkbeck.
Yes. To be honest, I love the energy they gave me. So when I come in, I feel younger. So I tap into that energy, and quite frankly, I do need the energy for the work we're doing here in Royal African Society, because there's a lot to do. It's a very exciting moment to me. Yeah. So simply put, it's lovely having young blood around me.
Yeah, it's really great. You do feast upon them. Let's talk about this role. You've stepped in as interim director and CEO of the Royal Africa Society. What mandate were you given, and what does success in this role look like to you?
The mandate of the society is simple. It's simply to amplify the voice of Africa in the United Kingdom and globally. Yeah. So that's my mandate, because that's the mandate of the organization. We have a we have a long history. We'll be celebrating 125 years. I know, massive moment, 125 years next year. We are very privileged, so we are the only royal charter that is focused on Africa. And so that's why we have Prince William as our patron. And so coming back to what I need to do is to amplify the voice of Africa in a way that the relationship between Africa and the United Kingdom remains in the fore, but increasingly as equal strategic partners. That's right. Because Africa has come a long way. The United Kingdom has come a long way also.
Has the relationship.
Indeed. So getting what has worked, what hasn't worked, how can we foster this relationship better for the common good, especially as regards the African continent. And obviously we're both African. Africa is 54 countries, but we're looking at the Pan-African approach. So for me, in things that we're doing, events, what are those specific events as triggers for interventions where we are enhancing the overall good across Africa, different segments. I mean, I can tell you a bit more, because we are a peculiar organization in the sense that we have 4 different pillars, if you will. We serve as a secretary to the All Political Parties Group on Africa. So that is co-chaired by a member of Parliament, Chi Omora MP, and Lord Johnny Oates, who's a member of Lords. So that gives us a privileged position to facilitate and organize meetings that influence on Africa, so on the UK's Parliament decisions or policies as affect Africa.
Is it just influence, or is action also and execution vital?
To be honest, it's more influence, because if, for instance, there is an issue in, I'll say, DRC, and we have people from the DRC who mention, then we can organize meetings, and so the people in Parliament are better aware of the situation, and then those issues could be tabled, at Parliament for conversation. So they do their thing, but what we essentially are, we are the connector between Africans and the UK Parliament, which is a very huge responsibility. We also have interventions in the business space. So we are a membership-driven organization. Yes. We have individual members and corporate members. And so with corporate members, we give them the opportunity to use our platform to speak about the brilliant things they're doing, whether it's in the UK or across Africa. And we will be having our annual business lecture next year, part of the 125 years intervention. So that's celebration. So that's on the business side. Yeah. And then we are based in a university, and so academics promoting book launch. So there's actually a book launch we're doing in conjunction with SOAS today. We have a platform, African Arguments, where African academics and journalists can write their articles, and is available for everyone to see. And then we are also the custodians of a management journal, which is published by the Oxford University Press.
Yes.
So the #1 African journal for African academics. So it's quite a bit.
Yes,
so
very rich in history
indeed,
and depth.
Indeed. So never a dull moment with us. But so we also need to be strategic at what are the things we're doing and why. And of course, how could I forget? There's the arts and culture piece.
That's right.
The arts and culture piece, our flagship event just ended on Sunday.
Film Africa.
Film Africa.
Yes.
You know, it was amazing. 10 days of films across different locations in London, including the British Film Institute, where we had our opening and closing. We had a masterclass with Kunle Afolayan, who's,
Goodness me.
I know, well acclaimed.
An icon.
I know, in the film industry. And we had a masterclass at BAFTA. And we had lots of young people, like it was just sitting in the room. And so he was simply sharing his experience, you know, how he comes up with his themes, how he got the Netflix deal, what worked, when to say yes, when to say no. So all enriching opportunity for everybody, really.
We return to our conversation with Stella Okuzu, the new interim director and CEO of the Royal African Society. Earlier in the programme, we explored RAS's evolving role in policy, investment and cultural diplomacy. In this next part, we discuss the organisation's vision for African influence globally and how it plans to empower the next generation through education, partnership and storytelling. Here's more from the interview. I want to ask about the membership. I know you just started your own September, although you're incredibly busy. I've seen you out and about, you know, really making sure that the RAS flag is being waved. But some would say perhaps that you're not as inclusive as you should be. You know, so some of the festival, for example, Africa Right, not everybody would know about it. I'm sure some people would want to be a part of it. Is that deliberate?
Our intention is for more people to know about what we do.
Yeah.
And so that really has affected the kinds of programs we have had in the last couple of months and going forward.
Yes.
Specifically, I'll talk about Film Africa. So for Film Africa, we had 50 films from 20 different African countries.
Wow.
Yes, so which was powerful. From DRC,
Very diverse.
Yes, Ghana. We had some films in French, in Arabic, in English. So that diversity was there. We could do a lot more in terms of publicity, which we're working on. We have two categories, as I said, corporate and individual members. And each time we have an event, so I can speak specifically for the Film Africa, just hosting that and having people watch movies, talk about soft power. You're watching a cinema. So there's a film, say Nawi, about a child bride and how she gets married at age 13. People find a way to connect because they say, oh my God, we don't get to choose the circumstance of our birth. This could easily have been me. So the more we have those interventions, the more people get to know about us and want to be part of it. Absolutely. So for every event we have had, we have more and more people wanting to join us, and that is especially what we want.
What is the makeup, Stella, of the people that are getting involved? Of course, we are in Britain. I was speaking to you off air last week. Channels Business Global viewers will know that Duke of Edinburgh was in Lagos, which was absolutely great. We know that relationship between Britain and Nigeria and Africa is strong. But I suppose there are some people that would want to see more black participation, shall we say, in the Royal African Society. I don't think that's a negative viewpoint. I think that helps shape perhaps some of the programs, which is why I want to hear more about the membership.
Yes, so you are right. For an organization that is 125 years, the membership historically would have been skewed more towards the British part of our heritage. That is changing. And so even in our membership drive, we're trying to achieve balance. And I like to say that in the Royal African Society, we have a mix. We have members who've been here for years, and when they speak to me, oh, Stella, in the good old days, this is what we used to do, which is nice. But then we're in 2025, and so we're actually looking at a situation where we can have people share what it used to be in the past with the younger people.
That's right.
Africa is a young continent.
I want to
go back to Africa Rights and Film Africa. It's two really important cultural platforms because they help so much in the storytelling of Africa. Do you think that global perceptions of Africa are changing? Do you think they're stagnating? How do you think they are shifting? It's great being celebrated, isn't it? But we want more depth. We don't just want bells and whistles. We want people to really respect us.
So there are two things. I find a lot of the visibility we get about the continent is more skewed to the arts and culture side, which is a good thing. But there is so
we're more
much
than entertainment, aren't we?
I know, yeah. We're more than entertainment. We're more than, Nollywood.
Yeah.
There's also huge businesses.
Yeah.
And even increasingly, I'm coming across Africans whose parents set up thriving businesses, second generation, in the 50s and the 60s. They have the evidences, the invoices. So there's a story that is yet untold. So we want to use this platform to tell those stories. So we get respect not just for our arts and culture, but also for the business that Africans do across the world. But even within the arts and culture space, there is a shift, okay? Because like I was saying to somebody, that if you watch a good movie, you would say to someone, oh, I watched a brilliant movie on Friday. The next question the person would probably ask was, okay, who was in it? Or who was the producer?
Yes.
But not, what's the country of origin? Where was it produced? Is it an African? So for us, we want to use Film Africa as a channel to bring African cinema right in the center of global cinema.
Yes.
And that is already happening. So our opening movie for the film festival was My Father's Shadow. And we had chosen that, so it was a very long process of selecting the movies. 387 movies viewed from January to when we had the festival. But we chose My Father's Shadow as the opening film for the film festival. And it turns out that that particular movie is the movie that was chosen by United Kingdom as its nominee film for the Oscar Awards in 2026. And it's being presented as Britain's international film for the Oscar. So already the lines are blurring.
Synergy.
Indeed. So it's more about quality of, as opposed to, is it an African movie or is it so quality speaks. And we want to provide a platform for the best of African productions, films, books, businesses, to be showcased.